Oh, look at him. You have like a something in your head there, Cameron. It's not just the theme music for It's Sybil. You like bobbing and everything. Hello,
Oh,
everybody. Welcome to It's Sybil. I am Sybil Wilkes, and it is the day with the B and the boys. It is Cameron Riley Day. How are you, Cameron?
I'm doing well. I'm for the record, I'm a man. I'm a man.
And you know what? Only those who have to stress that I question. And how you doing, my boy Damon?
I'm doing just great. I feel like a boy today because I'm at my mother's house. So I feel like I'm in my past. Oh,
You sure you're not in the prison chaplain's office or something?
yeah, that's an inside joke, but I did look like I was home on parole a minute ago.
No matter where you are, we're glad to see you both and hear you both and have you on here. So I welcome you both to the show today and so glad to be with you. Just some quick housekeeping as we get close to the weekend. Just want to remind folks to turn those clocks back an hour Saturday night, Sunday morning as daylight saving time comes to an end. Please do remember that. Or you could just be early for church. It's your call, but you do get an extra hour tonight over the weekend. Cameron, the man,
Thank
what's
you.
new in your world? What's going on?
Today was my first day as a community coordinator for University of Illinois at Chicago. That's where I'm at now. I'm in some random conference room at UIC.
You just walked in and set up shop and some random you are the man. Okay,
I'm faculty. I can just flash my ID and say, "Hey, I need this room," and they'll say, "Oh, okay, sir, right away, right away."
a community organizer. Doesn't that sound familiar?
Uh, yeah,
Does that sound? Who else started out as a community organizer and went to the White House and now living in several big houses? Just saying, you looks like you are on the right road there, young man.
He got
thank
you
you,
all
thank you.
flustered.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited for this new position. We'll see how it goes, and it's nice to work from my alma mater. I graduated
Hmm.
from USC magna cum laude in 2018.
All right, add that.
So,
Okay,
yeah,
much respect. I graduated from Northwestern. Just glad to get out of there, Lottie.
uh,
And
the thank you, Laude, is what we say.
praise Lottie. In my case, and Damon, how you doing? What's going on?
Well, I'm not in that Lottie conversation. It's nice of you to toss it to me, though. I was Magna Street Loudy.
That's right. That's right.
But I'm doing great. I'm glad to be home. I'll be home for a while, and they re started the Chicago Urban League Gala, so we'll be doing that Saturday. Uh,
Awesome.
yeah, they're bringing it back in person. They did virtual, I believe, last year. And the year before that, they had some other people in my place as hosts, and they regretted it. So I'm
Hmm.
back.
You
Uh,
back and you black with the Urban League. I love that.
Indeed.
Absolutely. And that is this Saturday night?
Yeah, this Saturday, November
Okay.
6th, Boys to Men are the headliners. And of course,
Oh,
there'll be
nice.
many luminaries speaking and receiving accolades, and we'll be raising money for the Urban League initiatives.
cool.
And you will be the master of ceremonies and a wonderful choice they've made and it's good that they've come back to their senses.
Yeah, since I'll be on land this weekend, I
Yeah,
might as
yeah,
well be
me too.
working.
Yeah, yeah, that ship has sailed.
Yeah, literally.
All right, so let's talk about some things that are going on in the news. Let's talk topics of interest to folks. And the first thing I want to do is send out get well wishes to our friend, the Reverend Jesse Jackson. He has been released from the hospital after taking a fall at Howard University this week. He was there with the protesting students over the conditions there. He was released from the Howard University Hospital after falling and hitting his head while helping the students who were protesting the campus living conditions, of course. The 80-year-old Mr. Jackson left the hospital after an overnight stay and back at the university working with students, according to his spokesperson, Mr. Frank Watkins. Hey, Frank. Various tests included a CT scan, all came back normal, but they chose to keep him in the hospital overnight because he, of course, does have Parkinson's disease. He has just come out of rehab after having COVID,
Right.
despite his being vaccinated. And so all of these things playing in his age, his physical condition and what have you, they just wanted to keep some eyes on him. And so he was scheduled to meet with the Howard president and students, fell, hit his head and hospitalized, but he's back at work. So that is the power of not being able to keep a good man and a civil rights pioneer down. And so we do.
Absolutely. And we need to give Jesse all his flowers because he is one of the remaining civil rights activists from our time. And I just saw him. I didn't bother him, but he was working out with a trainer at my son's gym. My son and I were working out last week, and we saw Jesse. I left the Rev alone, but he's 80 and he's still out here in these streets. He's still trying to help in his voice and do stuff, which leads me to ask, how bad is he trying to get out the house? You can just relax, bro. You have put in your work. I don't know if she's still mad at you, but just relax, bro.
Damon, I was wondering the same thing. I was thinking, God bless him. He just a few weeks before he was getting arrested on the regular, in DC over the whole Voting Rights Act thing that he was getting arrested with members of Congress and the Senate and what have you. So
he's out there.
So at 80, I'm thinking you've done more than, people twice your age, if I can say that, could have possibly done in their lifetimes. How many people, have you, just surpassed in terms of all that you have done for your people, for this country? You deserve just to take a rest, take a cruise, something.
Man, grab a recliner, man. But I'm glad. It's good to see him being active because I would hate to be at 80 and just be stuck sitting, but I had to get that in there. God bless him.
It.
And we appreciate everything he's done in service because a lot of this stuff is not just out, marching and protesting. It's behind the scenes. He's been in some boardrooms and some corporate situations and got some things done on that level. And if you ever listen to the Reverend speak, he's very, very astute. He's very knowledgeable about finance and things of that nature. And he will cuss on occasion when the mic
Mike is hot or not. Yes, he will. And in the church too. But he has really led the nation in so many different directions, as you said, hipping people to the necessity to own stocks and to be in that room when the companies are making those big decisions. As a stock owner, you and have an investment in a company, you should be there. And as a Black person, certainly you want to be counted. And so he has demonstrated that for countless years now. He's gone out of his way to save people who have been held hostage, and not just Americans. I remember when he went, Damon, and he went and saved the airman. I think his name was Robert Goodman. He went and saved him. He was an American, but he just was awarded by the country of France for his, saving people's lives for that country and given their highest level of award. So he really is. And I really am with you. I am a firm believer these days of giving people their flowers as they are still with us and not waiting until the unfortunate end. So I am with you on that. And so you just, as we said during the 80s, run, Jesse, run.
Run, Jesse, run. And he's doing all of this and still got a head full of hair. So he's an amazing.
He's doing better than us, Damon.
And keeping it real, my brothers. Okay. All right. So it is voting day in a number of states, but not where you guys are. No elections in the state of Illinois today, I take it.
No, not yet.
When will there be any elections before the end of the year, or are we waiting for the primaries?
I believe the primaries are no, we don't have any primaries coming up this year.
No, not this year, but waiting for the 2022.
Right.
We wait until 2022.
And I think, you correct me if I'm wrong. I think that they moved the Illinois primaries to even later in the year. Usually they're March. It's still snowing and carrying on. But if I'm not mistaken, they've moved the Illinois primaries to the summertime. So we'll see what happens. But
Wow.
If I'm wrong, please. I know folks will pipe in and correct me on that.
June,
but we do talk about the elections, and we will talk about that during the What You Need to Know newsletter segment, Khameron. But I'm a sucker for days like this. I can't wait to finish our conversation, and no shade against you guys, but I love watching all this return stuff, and we'll talk about why some states are having a greater influence on perhaps the Biden administration and Democrats in particular as we get into our conversation. But as I said, no voting in the state of Illinois, but I hope for those folks who were able to vote today that you did. Because as we are looking at the time now on the East Coast, most of the polls are closing at 7 p.m. So we are after that. And if they close things off and you're still in line, you can't vote if you're listening to us in somehow or some way, right?
Yeah, even if the line extends outside of the building, if you are in line, they have to let you vote. They cannot turn anybody away. So,
yeah. And Lord knows they will try, won't they?
Yeah.
Well, hopefully that goes smoothly in those states that do have it. And for Illinois voters, it's June, as you stated. It'll be a June primary in 2022.
Yeah. So there we go. And the primaries, I think the state of Texas has the first round of primaries for the 22 season. And I think that's in March here. And I can't wait. I am just a Twitter. I have friends who are involved in the races. I have friends who are, going to be up for re-election and what have you. And so I'm really looking forward to this. But tonight, I'm looking forward to watching what's going on, especially Khameron, as I've alluded once again, talking about Virginia and New Jersey. All right. So this has just come down, and this has to do with the CDC, and the advisors are recommending that those Pfizer COVID-19 vaccines for young children are they are supporting the broad use of Pfizer and BioNTech's COVID-19 vaccine for children ages 5 to 11. And this was a unanimous vote today, by the way. Shots possibly going into young arms as quickly as tomorrow.
Wow. Cool.
So let me ask you this, because even though what I'm hearing is that even though a lot of parents have been vaccinated, we know that those parents who have not and what they're probably going to do, suspect that what they're going to do with their children, but even some who have been vaccinated are saying they're not necessarily rushing to get their children vaccinated, even though they are encouraging folks to get it done as soon as possible so that everybody can be together without as much fear as they would have before for the holidays.
Yeah, it would be nice to get your first shot in, even though you got to wait, the 4 to 6 weeks to get the second. The purpose of the vaccine is to ensure that you don't die from COVID, and they're so accessible now. And with people trying to make sure that students returning to school is as normal as possible. Just get the shot in the arm.
Get the jab.
Yep.
What do you think, Damon? Certainly, as a parent and as a grand, what do you think?
It's a tricky scenario. I think it's a matter of personal choice for some people. Mm-hmm. If I had the option and I had a young child, I would probably just keep them home for one more school year and avoid the vaccine until further observation of young people has been done. But then again, after a couple of weeks of a kid around the house, you probably just go ahead and stick them. Sounds great. Sounds great in theory, but
practice.
When you start looking at them going to that fridge 5 times a day
and standing there with the door open, you just gonna let all the chilly air out
and taking all the groceries out, I might be like, you know what? I got it. You get it.
Take you out on the road with me.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see what our listeners are saying as well, and how they feel about it. As parents, are you moving towards that, or as grandparents, perhaps moving towards that direction of getting the kids vaccinated as quickly as tomorrow, if it's available, or are you willing to hold off? The original shot given to those age 12 and older is a little bit more than what the students, the young kids, 5 to 11-year-olds, will be given. By the way, they're going to be given micro doses, they say.
Okay.
So we'll see what happens.
The vaccine, my first shot took me out for like a week. I can
So
only
that's
imagine
a,
what that would do for a kid.
and people don't, obviously they don't want that for their children. Tell me about what you experienced.
Well, I assumed that because I ate right, exercised regularly, that the shot wouldn't have such a visceral effect on me.
Mm-hmm.
I was completely and horribly wrong. I felt like I was sleeping on a bed of needles. I had vertigo. I had waves of vertigo, aches and pains all over for about a week. It was absolutely awful. I didn't even feel like eating anything for a couple days too.
Wow.
And then when I got the second shot, they said, "Hey, well, it's okay. The second shot's going to be easier." Wrong. Second shot was worse.
Was worse than the first.
Yeah. I felt awful. Absolutely terrible.
Sounds like they gave you a shot of COVID. The vaccine, they gave you the whole COVID, bro.
Wow.
Yeah, my arm was like super sore and everything. It was the worst. It was.
Were you hesitant to get the second after having gone through the first?
No, I don't know. I'm in the camp who have been like societally convinced that I'm doing my civic duty by getting vaccinated or something. So that's the train that I was on.
And what about the booster? Will you take that chance and do it again?
I don't know, man.
2 times, and you thought the third may not be the charm either. Huh?
Yeah, I don't know.
Damon,
maybe you gotta like get COVID first and see what it's like, and then
oh my gosh,
the booster.
Damon, will you get the booster?
I'm holding off on the booster until I'm a year past my initial or second vaccine. Just because I feel like I'm okay. I feel like there's less people out here giving out COVID, and I'm kind of chilling on the booster for now.
Right. But certainly in your line of work, you have to be, and travel and everything, you have to be on top of that too, right?
Absolutely. So, I was early in the first round of vaccinations. In fact, I had the hookup. I got it even before I was age eligible. Mm-hmm. So I was gung ho about it, trying to get it done so that I could be out in the world and do what I have to do. The booster, I mean, who's to say that the regular vaccine? I mean, I'm healthy, I'm good,
Yeah.
Sometime though, when it's recommended for me to do it, I'll probably maybe wait a couple of weeks after that recommended time and go ahead and get it done.
Right.
It's already in me now,
Yeah, it's in you, and I think they said 6 months after you get your last, the second shot, then you're eligible to get the booster, and so that will make it the end of the year for me. And I think that I'll go ahead and get it. I didn't have any issues. I had nothing, Cameron. I mean, I was like, they said, well, you'll be sleepy or something like that. And I who suffer from insomnia, I was ready for the sleep, and it didn't come. So I will probably, but I'm going to be, proactive and get the flu shot this year. I've done it in the past. I didn't do it last year because of what was going on, but I'm gonna go out there and get all of that stuff. So we'll see what happens.
Eagerly awaiting your report on that.
Yeah, you go. You go ahead. Holla. So we'll see what happens. All right, gentlemen, let's talk about what's really going on. We take a deeper dive into questions of the day. Sometimes they're fun. Sometimes they're, I like to keep it a little light because we have so many heavy topics that we talk about. But I do want to ask you about this particular thing that is going on, and it involves our president and where he's been of late. The question today is following the president's spending several days at the Climate Change Summit in Glasgow, Scotland. Does the issue of climate change concern you? Why or why not? And we ask other people to chime in on this. I'm one of those who's a recycler, recyclable person in my love life too. But I really like the idea of, putting things in a separate bin, and when they come on recycling Thursday and do all of that kind of stuff. I do that. But I don't think that I do enough in terms of climate change. So is that a concern for either of you?
Yeah, Damon, you mind if I take this one first?
You got it, young man.
Thank you. I've been grappling with this a lot, just because it's on the docket for us young woke people to address climate change and our role in it. And as a plant-based person, there are people out there who like to tout that, oh, I'm reducing carbon emissions,
the footprint and all of that kind of stuff.
Plant-based, that's all well and good. I am in the camp where, the onus of reducing carbon emissions lies in the hands of the corporate entities that pollute on a cosmic scale. While I like to recycle and I like to choose my diet and think that I'm like reducing my carbon footprint, that's all well and good. But I think that the onus falls to our governing bodies, who have a sizable piece of the climate change pie in their back pocket. But I don't trash anyone who is motivated to act on a hyper-local level. Do you? But statistically speaking, data speaking, folks like Nike, they crank out greenhouse gases like it's breathing.
Yeah. Yes, like we breathe. Yeah. In and out. Damon, I don't know about you, but I've investigated getting even things like solar panels, and finding out if I can get them in my new home, and when the time comes, and things like that. Is that of any interest to you?
Yeah, certainly. I want to help and do our part for the environment going forward, because we see catastrophic things already starting to happen. We don't know if we are directly responsible as individuals with our carbon footprint, but I will get the solar panels, just to bring that light bill down a little bit. I don't know if you know.
Okay.
Yeah, they are coming. Like my dad, they came, he had wind damage, so they did his roof over, and then he got the solar panels. And now, the extra energy that you generate or that you do not use, it returns to the grid, and you get a refund for it. So, I mean, that's obviously a good thing to have, especially if it could be a backup for, when things go down. And we know that, that can happen, outages and such. But, I like cars, and I like gas-powered cars, so I haven't done the electric vehicle yet. And I still eat a little meat, and I know that cows create methane, and if you eat it, then I'm a methane contributor as well, because my little lactose be kicking out. I'm probably I put a hole in ozone every time I eat an ice cream sandwich. So I'm trying to do my part, but it's nothing I can do about that part. But I think we all should do little parts, like we recycle. Even though they say like with plastics, we think we're doing our part, but only maybe 9 or 10% of plastic makes it into recycling. And then the vehicles they use to collect the recyclables is also a problem as well. So until they, like you said, on a large scale, modify some of the things we're doing, the greenhouse gases and other things, it's best to do our part, but does it really matter?
I'm curious if there's like anyone in the comments who's got like solar panels or who composts or
Right.
who
Another thing,
recycles. So
drives an electric vehicle, or I
yeah,
drive a hybrid. And hello, Toyota. I still love that, because I liked the idea of that. It's a quiet car, but I like the idea of doing something. I'm not full on electric vehicle, because that drive being, and I know it's going to get better, but that driving 300 miles and then finding some place to plug in, and I have enough difficulty trying to get some power for my phone. I can't
Right.
imagine searching for something, for a filling station, an electric filling station, as they used to call it, for my vehicle, and impede, and the time that you take. Chica and I were talking about this the other day coming back from Houston. The time that it takes to charge your car, and all of that, that's a considerable amount of time. But some people are willing to make that investment. The thing that got me, you guys, was watching the coverage of the climate change summit, and the number of private planes of the rich and famous who are also attending the summit. There was some 30 private planes just lined up at the
Mm.
Glasgow airport, I guess. And what does that look like? And we're talking about our carbon footprint. How ridiculous does that look? That somebody can't say, "Look, you can just drop me off here and then go hide the plane around the corner somewhere."
yeah, no one decided to like plane pool to the climate summit.
Come
No.
on.
Hey, yeah, let's pick up Jeff Bezos in New York and then pick up Warren Buffett in Chicago.
And okay, Warren, come over from Omaha. We'll dip in. We'll get you. But don't take your own plane.
Yeah, tasteless.
That just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and I agree with Carolyn in the chat talking about how like we have our world leaders convening, but we don't see any of them giving up their comforts or their conveniences.
That's exactly it. Yeah, double talk. They're not giving up their comfort, she says on Facebook, Carolyn Jones Jameson. And I get that, Carolyn, but we have to do something. I'm not going to leave. I don't want to leave this world to Cameron's children, and with with it being worse than it is now, because it's not gonna, if we don't do something now, it's gonna be too late to make any of those changes. And I think it's a very selfish act, which I think is also a part of a lot of people who choose not to get vaccinated. It's a very selfish act not to do what you can to save for the next generation.
Well, if you all make the world any better, I'll be fresh out of excuses as to why I don't have kids. So take your time. Take your time.
Dora Levette Tiggs on Facebook says, comforts are hard to give up. Yeah, but we all have to make some sacrifices.
My private plane.
Right. And I've been on one particular private plane a number of times, and it is good living. But I also like to get my miles from the airline. So and Damon, I know you know what I'm talking about, but it's
yeah, I never got a chance to ride on Black, but I do know what you're talking about.
Robin's the vegan superstar over here.
Yeah, you get the gold star. Robin Savage on YouTube says, I've been composting for years, and I've been plant-based for 30 years.
Wow, the picture.
Wow.
Robin, you go.
Wow. Yeah, that's
Okay.
awesome, Robin. Good for you.
You win today.
Nice. that was before they even had products readily available. She had to probably have a garden and such. So.
Right.
Robin predates tofu.
I don't I don't know if she wants that on her as a part of her legacy, but I think that's awesome. I really do, and I commend you for that.
Yes.
Us regular folks make sacrifices, says RJS on YouTube. The rich don't.
Yeah, I watched a documentary about like what the top 600 CEOs do during their 50-hour work week, and they only spend less than 10% of it actually working. The rest of it is like just having lunch with people and like doing other stuff that's not work. I also, if I could recommend a book, it's called The Secret Life of Trash. If anyone wants to ever just blow their minds open about where our trash goes and where our trash ends up. I would highly recommend it. It's a really good book.
So Khameron, I've always been one of those who's been fixated on recycling. At home, when I was a little girl, trying to convince my mom that we should, separate our trash and for the recycling bins and what have you. At work, when they had the little blue trash cans with the arrow, the triangle arrows, all of this. So I was working for Tom. This was in the early years when we were in the old studio. And I remember sitting there one day, and I was the only one there, and the cleaning people came in. And I dutifully, made sure that I would take, the trash out, because Tom had a lot of paper and stuff, and take his trash and put this in the recycling bins and what have you. The cleaning people came and they just took all that shit and they just poured it all in one container.
Yep. Yeah. So like a lot of that stuff is in The Secret Life of Trash. A lot of the recycling that you may think that you do on the local level ultimately ends up in the trash anyway. And
Right.
A lot of America's trash is actually buried underground. It's very fascinating where our trash goes.
The Secret Life of Trash.
Yeah, really good book.
Okay. And the documentary was called?
The documentary. This was like some Business Insider.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Business Insider. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm going to look up The Secret Life of Trash. I think that's really interesting. And I will go, and I will, I have been known to forage through some trash cans when I've been staying with people and take their plastic out of the trash and put it into the recycling bin. I'm just saying, Yolanda and Ward, don't hate me for that.
You wash your clothes in cold water.
See, okay, so I've just shared with people on our programming call the other day. I got a washing machine. I got a new washing machine because I hated the one that I got earlier this year. I don't have enough to do with my money. So I got this new washing machine with an agitator, and I have been washing clothes like a demon since Saturday. And to answer your question, no, I have not been washing in cold water with this new washing machine, but I will. But I just wanted to, I just wanted to get my clothes clean because I felt that they weren't getting clean enough in the former machine. So I am going to, once I finish all of the laundry that I have to do, I promise I'm going to get back to washing iced tea. So I will do that. I promise. Michelle Lynn Summerall said, I've got some. I've offered. I called Yolanda. I said, I'm putting a load in right now. You wanna come over and throw something in, because I've become my mother's child, and so. But this was the bane of my existence. Was this damn washing machine made in America? And so I got an agitator, and I'm no longer agitated about the way my clothes are coming out. But I promise you, Khameron, I'm going to get back to the cold.
You got to get some all temperature. Remember that?
Yes.
Cheer had that. You can wash in cold water with all temperature.
Yeah, Khameron, that was before your time.
Okay.
So Khameron, do you have any other recycling or cold, not just cold water washing, but any other climate change tips in order to help us as we round this out?
Yeah, metal straws.
Yes,
they work wonders. You can always carry one with you. You can always carry a metal straw with you. And here's an anti-recycling tip. A lot of restaurants stopped giving out like extra napkins.
Yeah.
So you have to ask. You gotta ask for extra napkins.
Yeah.
Oh, also washing the plastic before you put it in the recycling doesn't do it.
Make sure, yeah, and don't throw your pizza cardboard in there because that's not good for it.
Yeah, if it's greased or soiled, it's not good.
Yeah. Someone, she is she's not a microbiologist, but she was a young woman. I interviewed her a couple of years ago, and she is having to do a marine biologist, and she was the one that first hit me to the metal straws. which I think was just a wonderful thing. And so I try to do that as well. But I still have plastic straws in my refrigerator. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah, because those paper straws they tried, those don't work.
Yeah.
Beyond,
Oh,
you get 6
absolutely
sips
not.
and then it's
Oh.
broken. Yeah.
Absolutely.
How about we just
Absolutely.
start drinking with lips?
Because of COVID-20. That's
It's a disposable cup. You could just drink with your lip. Take the lid off, lip.
Remember that? Remember how we used to do that? Yes, and they talked about us Negro lipping that too. By the way, Damon, just don't know if you remember that.
I guess it wouldn't work for a Wendy's Frosty.
No.
You got a nice mustache there. All right, guys, thank you so much for coming in on my discussion about climate change and what we're doing and how willing many of us are. And we have some superstars in the group there, as you can see. All right, Khameron, it's now time for us to go to the What You Need to Know newsletter. And that is the newsletter that Khameron is a valuable contributor to. It is our newsletter that comes out every Monday through Friday morning. And all you need to do is subscribe to an absolutely free newsletter. Give us your name and your email address at sybilwilkes.com. And so Khameron has and I have talked about the elections this week on the What You Need to Know newsletter. And in today's newsletter, as we are approaching the end of this election period, Khameron asks or tells people why today's gubernatorial elections in Virginia and New Jersey matter. Hit it, Cam.
Yeah, Sybil, I didn't realize that we pretty much wrote the same article, so we have to coordinate better to not clash on that.
Well, I saw it, and I said, well, you're just going to give it a different flow and perspective. So that was cool.
Yeah, well, the long and the short of it is, everybody, my Tuesday crowd is that these forthcoming elections at the local level are battles for the very souls of our nation. Federal politics is taking way too long, and change is happening so much quicker on the local level. And so it's important that we show out and vote at any cost. If you don't feel comfortable showing up to the polls, and by all means, vote early. And so the reason why the elections in New Jersey and in Virginia are such a big deal is because these elections are held 1 year after the presidential election, which are typically used as measuring sticks for how well or how popular the ruling party is.
Right.
And Virginia and New Jersey are notorious for exhibiting what's called the pendulum effect, which is something in politics where whoever the ruling party is on the federal level, at the local level, the pendulum always swings opposite that. And so so the Democrats are hoping to intervene against this forthcoming red wave on the local level. What's also interesting about the Virginia,
especially.
Yeah.
Now, talk a little bit about Virginia, because Virginia not only indicates how things are going to go, but they are a good bellwether testing ground for how things have gone in the last year. Right?
Yeah. So uniquely in Virginia, governors aren't allowed to run for consecutive terms.
Right. They get one term. They get one shot.
Yeah, which is cool on one hand, but also I'm beginning, as I did my own research, I just saw like incumbents trading places with their predecessors. So it's just like a big circle jerk of white dudes. God
bless Douglas Wilder, but yes, you're right. With the exception of Mr. Wilder, Governor Wilder, you're absolutely right.
And so if the Democrats in New Jersey do take this, then it would totally precedent. Reverse precedent. This would be the first Democratic governor re-elected in the past 40 years.
Yeah.
So the federal government is keeping an eye on these local races. One, because if they see Republicans win, then that means that they should press the panic button. If they see Democrats win, it means that we cannot get complacent.
Right. You got some work to do, Democrats. No matter who wins, But and I don't think the margin, especially in Virginia, is going to be great enough for you to feel any kind of sense of security in this. We've seen the way things have gone across this nation, and in Virginia, with a man who went the Donald Trump route in the primary, but
Right.
now that he is the nominee, the Republican nominee, this guy Glenn Youngkin, he has distanced himself from Donald Trump until the night before the election.
Right.
And
Yeah.
then Donald Trump came out and said, "Oh, my people will go and vote for him." So that's going to be interesting to see what kind of Trump effect he has in Virginia.
Yeah, and the Trumpeteers are out here.
Mm-hmm.
They are out here and they are in these races. And as I mentioned in my video earlier today, everyone who is corroborators of the big lie, which is that the 2020 election was stolen, get them out of here, guys. We got to get them out of here. And people who didn't vote for or who threw out paid family leave, get them out too.
Well, let's start there and talk about also Terry McAuliffe, who is running as the Democrat, former governor of Virginia, and as Cameron said, could not run for a second term, consecutive term, has returned to Virginia to reclaim his office, and he's what was thought to be a cakewalk is proven to be anything but, and he was really hoping that the Democrats in the federal government would be able to give him something to an impetus, if you will, in pushing him over the goal line. But that didn't work either. As you said, when talking about the infrastructure and the paid family leave and making our prescription prices lower and things like that, thanks to Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema and others of their fellow Republicans, making things difficult. So,
what's going to happen is we, as people who are Democrats, have to really be diligent, because this is a revenge backlash reaction vote that's coming, because they believe the big lie that the election was stolen. So they're going to be motivated more so than we would be, because they really still are butthurt about that last election. So, we got to counteract that for sure.
Yeah, and Damon, a lot of the things that Donald Trump put into place, like the U.S. Postal Service postmaster and delaying the mail-in ballots and all of that kind of stuff, that's playing a part in it too. And now you're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't, because as a rule, the Republicans were not, in the past, they were ones to mail in their ballots. Now they, are required, because they know that Donald Trump has messed things up for everybody, and including them. So it's going to be interesting to see how the early vote happens, as they've been tallying those up until yesterday, as well as what happens with the mail-in ballots. Part of my attempt to cover the elections in the citywide elections for today talked about a number of high-profile campaigns and elections, starting with Atlanta. Atlanta has some 14 candidates running for mayor. Wow. Including former Mayor Kasim Reed, who is trying to get back in. This is all as a result of Keisha Lance Bottoms, the current mayor of Atlanta, announcing earlier this year that she was not going to run for re-election. And there was a big scramble, so big that 14 people, and now they are already looking at a runoff, even though the city council president, as well as Kasim Reed, are very close in the polling, but 40% of the people up until this week have said that they were undecided.
Wow.
Yeah, and seeing that's how you end up with a Lori Lightfoot. Here's the same thing happened.
Man, exactly, David.
I do not disagree with you.
Because we know we had never heard really of Lori people that were not involved, and she came out of nowhere, and it was because the pool was so thin and people were so less interested, and it was so many candidates that it got watered down. So be careful, Atlanta.
Yeah, I mean, this guy voted for Tony Preckwinkle, but there are Sybil, I think you covered this today, that there are people out here at the hyperlocal level, like campaigning off of, doing away or cracking down on, law and order. people who are saying, hey, you know what the protests that happened, they're not going to happen in our city. So there are people out here campaigning who are pretty much saying, hey, I'm a big fat racist. Please vote for me and my racist agenda. So
look at Virginia. They have the Republican is running for governor, Cameron and Damon. He's running on an issue that doesn't even exist in any of the schools around the country. Critical race theory. He said he's going to pull out the book Beloved from the libraries. You know, these are the people that are out there. And I don't know if you guys have watched Instagram today, but look for Cameron's video for sure. And also there is an interview with a man who says he's against critical race theory, and the reporter really, you know, grills him and says, what is this? And it turns out he really doesn't have a friggin' idea what this is all about. He just knows he's against it.
People just like who know politicians who are groomed to say the right things, but when these reporters out here, and God bless them, who are actually like grilling them on the content of the issues, their minds just go blank.
Yeah. A couple of other mayoral elections we do talk about in the newsletter, and then I want to talk about some that we didn't get a chance to because space is limited. In Minneapolis, Minnesota, the mayor, Jacob Fry, is running for re-election, as well as you were talking about, the law and order issues on the ballot. And this is really key. In the city where George Floyd was killed by police, they are determining whether to do away with the Minneapolis Police Department or to have a Department of Public Safety. That's the decision, one of the things on the ballot that they will be talking about, as well as how much power to give to the mayor. That is a second option on the thing to consider on the Minneapolis ballot. And also New York City could have only the second Black mayor of that city if Eric Adams wins. And it's pretty much a foregone conclusion. It's a very Democratic city. But he is a former New York police captain going up against Curtis Sliwa, the Republican, who, you know, the guy that used to wear the red, well, he still does. He wears the red beret and the anti-crime guy. So he is running for mayor in the Republican.
Wow. What was that called? What was the name of that group?
Angels.
The Guardian Angels, right?
Guardian Angels.
Yeah. Guardian Angels. Yeah.
You remember the
Guardian Angels still around, huh?
Yeah, man. Yeah, he's still keeping it alive. He was the founder and still the COO of that organization. A couple of other things to keep in mind: the mayoral election in Boston, a major milestone for women of color. They are two women of color. One is Michelle Wu, the daughter of Taiwanese immigrants, or Anissa Asabi George, the daughter of Tunisian and Polish immigrants. Either woman will be the first woman and the first person of color to lead the city of Boston, which has only had old white guys elected to run that city for 400 years.
I know those Fenway attendees are.
Oh man! And you know, for a while they had an acting mayor who was a Black woman. She did not win in the primary, and so it's going to be interesting to see. Lastly, I just want you to listen about Buffalo. The current mayor of Buffalo is Byron Brown. He did not win in the primary, so he is going up against the Democratic nominee India Walton, and he went in as a write-in candidate. He was not taking this loss very well, so he mounted a write-in campaign, and so we'll look for that and see how that turns out.
I know old Byron. I've hung out with him before.
Is that right?
Yeah, he seemed like a real G, you know. So I didn't know he was running. I'm gonna have to get some. You know, he was having issues with them. I'm trying to get some endorsements out that way.
Okay. Hit him up tonight. See what's happening there at the comedy clubs, Damon.
Yeah.
Each Tuesday, I also yes, sir.
Sorry, I have a date tonight, so I've got to cut out a little bit early.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, my lift is outside. I know this is
funny. Well, you know
did
what?
she send the lift, or you just sat here and ordered the lift in the middle of the thing?
I scheduled the lift prior to the live show.
She did not send the lift for you.
No, she did not send for me. No.
Okay.
No.
Well, go
She
get it
walked
in, young man.
Yeah. Who are we to stop you? Please,
Yeah.
by all means, get lifted.
You only young once. Go get lifted.
Really? Really? I highly. All right. Oh, he's putting on his Corton hat.
Me.
Okay, Professor, go to
it. Faculty man.
That's right, Mr. UIC community advisor, organizer. Go ahead, young Barack. Not mad at you.
Yeah, me neither, man. As serious as you are, you deserve a lot of fun. So go have fun.
Exactly.
Wrap it up.
We're going to dinner.
Yeah, well.
And what one man's dinner is another woman's smorgasbord. I'm just saying.
Thank you, everybody.
Be careful, be safe, but have fun. Damon's absolutely right.
Yeah.
And we want to get a report next week.
Absolutely. I will let you all know.
Okay. But I think you'll be somewhere else next week.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about that. Ooh, Go ahead. Go ahead.
Bye, everybody. I'll
rumble, young man, rumble.
All right.
Damon, that was fun.
Yeah, all the stuff he does and the seriousness. I'm glad he's on his way, and it's serious too. Because he's like, "Hey, I got to get up out of here."
Holla. Okay, my lift is here. Okay,
right.
All right.
Not all just video games with that bell. That's good.
Okay, not all politics and the future of the climate and the world and what have you. All right, so that's our that was something not in the newsletter, but we do also talk about in the What You Need to Know newsletter. We do talk about health and fitness, and want to remind people that that is probably our greatest cause. We do talk about politics. We do talk about social justice, but also we are very concerned about the fitness of our culture. And if anything, we are, in addition to politics and advocacy, it is about our lifestyle and getting as fit as possible. Damon, you're a great example of that. You and your wife, what you all do, and that is what we are doing here at the What You Need to Know newsletter, and it's Sybil. So check out all of those things too.
I'm sorry. And even though we are conscious of, what we eat and we try to stay active, you can still have unforeseen issues. Like, she went in for a random exam and her blood pressure was high, and so blood pressure runs in the family. So even though she exercises and eats right, if you're doing that out there, people, you still have to have periodic checks for your blood pressure. It's a silent killer. And, you don't have to be obese to suffer from blood pressure issues. So, let's just all try to live long, live better, man, to be honest.
Yeah. I have the same thing, and was just going to get a COVID test, and that happened to me too. So we are definitely on the case and trying to make our living as long and as profitable as possible in terms of the good health, and doing what we can to help others to incorporate that into their lifestyles as well. All right, Damon, it's time for a little bit of entertainment. I think we had that with with young Khameron.
That was hilarious. When he gets there, he's gonna be like, "Good evening, ma'am."
Oh, David, that's our entertainment. So I do want to talk about the fact that the newly declared celibate Nick Cannon partied at a strip club over the Halloween weekend.
That's like saying I'm finally gonna get on this diet, and now I'm on my way to Old Country Buffet. I'm gonna test this theory out right now.
Who's the strong man? Who's the strong? What?
How you gonna swear off ass and go to the ass country?
Damon, you tell me. I don't understand this. I don't proclaim to understand all the inner workings of a man. You tell me.
Especially a man who wears a turban. So I have no answer. Talk about a Corton hat. This guy wears turbans. So Nick is a very unique individual. He's very industrious and he's winning. but that don't sound right. I mean, either just don't go celibate, or don't tell us you're going celibate, or don't go to the strip club, or do all three, Nick. Do you, Nick?
Whatever works for you, player. I
Yeah,
guess I don't. But this, he proclaimed his celibacy after he got so much from people regarding his 7 children, and especially the last 5 from I think 3 different women.
yeah,
Um, because we know who started it all with him, but
right.
Mariah. But then subsequent women came along, and then in quick succession he was having these babies, like within, I think, as Jay used to say, there some of them are twins, not by the same mother. But so I don't know. What do you say to somebody like this? Like like you say, you got to do you. I mean,
Hey, it's gonna be my first day of being clean and sober. When I leave here, I'm going to a crack house. Right just before I cut everything off, I'm gonna run by this crack house just to make sure I'm sure
how strong I am. Yeah.
I can do
Okay.
this.
Okay. All right. All right, Damon. As we wrap this up, I do want to ask you about how things are going at Riddles.
Riddles is going well. I have 2 Detroit veterans in town. I'm doing a Detroit takeover with Mike Bonner and comedian Foolish, who are both unique individuals and 20-year plus comic veterans. And I'll be there on Friday. As I said, I'll be at the Urban League Saturday. So I'm glad to be home and hang out. We had AJ Sanders from A Different World last week.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, she had a good weekend. And next weekend we have AJ Jamal. So I'm bringing
Oh,
in the best. I'm bringing
yeah.
in. This is the place for comics. I got John Hinton on the books. From
Oh, I
Obi.
love him. Ovi,
Yeah, so I'm doing
living
stuff like that
single.
because some people, we're veterans, but they're going with the hot, social media types in the
Mm-hmm.
mainstream club. So Riddles is a place to come see the grown and funny, I like to say. And
Grown and
as you can
funny.
see, I book a lot of ladies to headline.
Mm-hmm.
Melanie Camacho and I were on the call today. DC Curry is coming, so it's a lot going on.
Well, tell all those folks I said hello as they come through. Once again, Riddles is in suburban Chicago, and folks can go to Riddles Comedy Club or just go to DamonWilliamsComedy.com.
DamonWilliamsComedy.com will get you right to the link. As soon as you tap on that, you'll be right at the page to grab your ticket. It's only $20, and we're having a ball. Monday night, though, I'm doing a Monday Night Football kickback because we have the Bears playing the Steelers, and that's
That's
going to
not
be
going to be a game. You need the funny as much as you can get, because that's going to be that's going to that's a
oh,
Monday Night Massacre.
ye of little faith.
I
Uh,
I know. I know.
I'm not a fan of Ben Roethlisberger. I am a fan of the coach of the Steelers, but I
Yeah.
hope they break both his knees and he retires for good because his past. But we're not going for the game. We're going for the food, the camaraderie. We're going to have music playing during the commercial breaks. We're going to have a halftime comedy show. So it's going to be a full extravaganza in a black-owned establishment, the Red Star in Madison.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Well,
And
have
it's free.
fun. And come on. Come on, you pay enough in blood and watching the Bears. Come on, have some fun. Let's I hate that general manager. I hate the coach. And
Yeah,
and this hatred is from a woman who doesn't even watch the games. Like I just
exactly.
and I don't want them to ruin this young man's career. Justin
Indeed.
Fields has so much promise and potential.
Yeah, well,
Um,
all the superstars start in Chicago and go elsewhere and flourish. So
yeah, that's
yeah,
true.
he'll be out of here.
You're right. You're
Yeah.
right. Look at Michael. He left and went to baseball. All right. So now it's time for Yogi's Jewels. It's now time for our daily inspiration, Yogi's Jewels. And so think about this. We all don't have to think alike to get along. Encourage free thinking. That's what we're here for. Absolutely. We absolutely ask people to call in, to text in, and to let us know what you're thinking. And we all don't have to agree, but we don't have to be disagreeable.
Indeed.
I'm
Let's
saying.
all agree to agree, but
That's
not
right.
to agree.
That's right. All right, Damon. Thanks so much. We appreciate it. Bye, everybody. Have a good week, and we will see you later. Aloha.
All right, Mama, I'm done.